All right now. Okay, because I don't know. I don't know where that last one was going to go, because it could have gone anywhere. Excuse me, but we back. And you know, excuse me if you hear a lot of background noise, a lot of like swallowing or sipping on drinks or whatever. Just finished my lunch. I have a lot of energy than I did in the first, you know, in the last episode in part one. So bear with me. Stay along. We're the top, we're still on rape culture. We're still on trigger. We're still triggered. We're still trying to get to the bottom of things, trying to figure out why society is the way that it is. We're going to be, picking up where we left off. And, I'm going to continue to share my experience with this particular topic. And, yeah. Maybe, I'm not even going to lie, maybe on the uncomfortable side, because there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of, enlightenment, like enlightenments, you know what I mean? In the process of me, like, saying certain things out loud, my experiences, some truths that, I may put out there or whatever regarding, my past or even my present, like things that I'm going through or whatever right now. And so, after a while, when you're reflecting and you by yourself and you start thinking things through and you get those aha moments, that's when it's like, oh, this makes sense, or this is why this happened this particular way. And that is all a part of why you are listening, why I'm sharing, why we are here to figure this part of life out. And this part of life is finding our voice through trauma and seeing how this journey of healing is going to be like for us in different ways, and how we can relate and how we can, do better for other people, including ourselves and our family or whomever, and seeing how our relationships can grow from where we're at right now, and not letting our past truly define who we are, or trying to define what our status of our relationship should be or what it should be like, including society. Like, I feel like society, definitely plays a role in different perspectives nowadays, and how things should be and what you need to do and this, that, and the third. And yeah, child, all of that. Y'all ready? Because here we go. So part 2 of this is kind of still about victim blaming, right? Still touching on a little bit of, the stagnation and the resistance to healing, and sharing your testimony or your story based off of what you've experienced and everything like that. So maybe later on we'll see where it'll take us. But it's going to give rebuilding boundaries surrounding conversations, relationships, ourselves, and more. So in part 1, like going at the end of part 1, I kind of had this revelation about my experience and how there's a chance that I didn't realize what I was going through was a form of emotional manipulation or a sense of someone else trying to control the outcome or control pretty much, yeah, control, trying to control the outcome of what situations will be like, so that it doesn't affect them, if that makes sense. Follow me. So if you can remember, child, if I can remember, because I just said it like hours ago. But anyways, I was just thinking like what I'm truly explaining is simply the fact that how I was told to tell my story, to share my story rather, and to tell my testimony with me not being ready could essentially like impact other people and myself in a way where it could take the limelight off of them, off of the other person that's doing the molding, the coaching, the whatever. Disclaimer, when I use the term coaching, I am not saying I was told to say certain things. I'm using the term coaching as in a way to where I am being guided into going this particular direction that is not my own, or being, because I am unequipped in this particular unequipped. Well, I feel like we are born to being unequipped because there's no manual on life. So I'm just leave that there. But nonetheless, it's a form of coaching. I'm using coaching as to express the guidance, or you know, just kind of being misled in a way. So I'm not saying that during this time of me trying to share or me wanting to or whatever, I'm not saying that I was told to say certain things during that time when I was experiencing that and I didn't want to. I'm expressing the fact that I didn't want to share or speak on it at all because I was unaware of what kind of emotional and mental space I was actually in due to the trauma that just happened to me. And yeah, it it is a sense of, you know, controlling in a way to take the limelight off the other person, or to not make it about everybody else and to make it about you, because essentially you are the person that's going through this and you're going through it firsthand. Everybody else is and comes into effect when they are having to go through it with you indirectly. And so, you know, indirectly it can affect other people by, you know, how you may lash out on other people and how you may isolate yourself. Because with you isolating yourself, it could seem as if, you know, if let's say for instance a person doesn't know what it is that you're going through, or you know, you haven't told anybody or whatever, and this can be about anything, and you isolate yourself or disassociate yourself from the group, the environment, or whatever, and people are looking for you, trying to find you, they can't get in contact with you. And, you know, in this sense, from the outside looking in, you've become MIA, you know, just nowhere to be found. Nobody can't reach you. you've put yourself in a place to where you can't be reached, and it affects other people secondhand because they don't know what kind of space you're in. They're probably unaware that a particular event or whatever has happened to you, something was done to you because you haven't spoken on it, or, because this has happened, you just cut everybody off or whatever. In a sense, you do want to be in a place to where you're able and comfortable to be around people so that, so that you don't affect other people in that way, because it's not harmful. It's not like you're doing things, it's not like you separating yourself intentionally. You are then intentionally trying to understand who you are in this space. You're trying to heal, you know what I mean? You're trying to become comfortable with being around people again, because you don't want to be touched, you don't want to be seen, you don't want to be heard, or just all of these different thoughts and feelings that you could possibly going through. And that is like, if not one, different ways of how people can feel affected towards your trauma. Other ways in which I was getting into was, one of them was kind of, the push to, share this, or, talk about where you're at right now, or, you know, you know, share your testimony, how God has gotten you through. And granted, God, I mean, I'm still here. I'm still alive. So yeah, essentially God did get me through, but I am not there yet. I don't think Veron, calm down. I don't think that God has gotten me through anything because I'm still essentially going through it. And this can be some of the things that you're saying in your head. Like, you can hear, pastors preaching. You can hear, your friends talking about how they got into a car accident. I don't know, just anything, right? And you like, my ass just, like, when I even, because as I'm saying this and thinking, as I'm thinking and saying this, I don't know why I reversed that, but as I'm thinking, I'm saying this, it's one of those things where also it's like you want to be mindful of what it is that you say and how you say it. What I was about to say just now was, your friends could be talking about how they just got into, an accident, or somebody just stole money, or just something, whether it's still a traumatic situation, like you probably getting robbed or something like that and get into a car accident. That still is a form of trauma. And then, your friends or whatever telling you this story, and in your head you like, well, my ass just got raped last night. That is nothing compared. And then there's no right or wrong way with anything, because it's just a traumatic experience. And sometimes it can be a thought in your head to where it's like, my situation may have seemed just way much worse or even less crazy than somebody else because they could have died. And these thoughts, these perspectives is also about, correlates to rape culture as well, and has affected us to think this particular way about people, about situations, about things, to compare. Oh, I would never experience this. Oh, I would never go through this. Oh, this is why I don't go to people's houses. Oh, I would never. Oh, my son. Oh, he will never. You don't know. You don't know. But when we are in conversations, going back to that, when we're having conversations or whatever, we tend to compare ourselves and our situations to other people's, not realizing how we are diminishing and watering, like kind of watering down our situation or whatever to to continue to feel less than, to continue this thought process that nobody is really going to care. So I'm not going to talk about it, or my situation is not as bad as theirs. You know what I mean? Because they could have died. You could have died too. You could have lost your life too. You could have you could have lost your life too. And there are so many different ways that you can help people. Not only do we have to give grace and compassion to the people that are silent, that aren't talking about what it is that they're going through, because you never know what anybody is going through. You could be mean, you can bum rush somebody or whatever, you can lash out on somebody, and it can turn into an argument or a fight. But it could have just from having a moment in a slight type of feeling of compassion and grace to other people, and letting certain things go, knowing that certain minor inconveniences does not have to really affect the situation that you're in, whether it's a minor argument, a stub toe, a bump, whatever, you know what I mean, stuff like that, is the same way that we have to give that kind of grace and compassion for somebody that has explained to you that they have had this experience, and because you've never experienced, you don't know you don't know if you'll be able to relate to them. You don't know how you can be there for them. You don't know how you can support them. Just simply listening. Just simply asking, are you okay? Saying, not I'm sorry, but I can't, not even that you can't believe that this happened to you, because we're going to take that out the picture too. So maybe you can say, I'm sorry that this situation has happened to you, when you're ready to talk about it. I hope that you are safe enough and comfortable enough to come to me when you're ready. Acknowledging the fact that this person probably now does not feel comfortable or does not feel safe because of this vulnerable state that they're in now. Hoping that the next person that they come across or that they talk to about this situation can hear them and even if they don't understand, but to give them comfort and to support them. Sometimes the help that we put onto other people is really not the help that they really need. It's that kind of help that you're trying to push onto other people to get is really the help that you need to be comfortable about a situation that you just don't understand, and something that you probably don't have much knowledge on, that you're probably ignorant to, that you cannot relate to. You're pushing this particular help and support onto people that, first of all, nobody asked for. And it's really for you to make yourself feel comfortable, to feel like you did something right by the other person, or you like now now it's becoming too much. Now it's becoming controlling, excessive. Now it's becoming very over the top. And that's what it was like for me. I can remember, I can remember it, when I say it, my situation coming out into the public. And I was working at a retail store in a mall, and when it came out, I like, first of all, was working, and like, I don't even know if I had, like, I didn't have a chance to do anything because I pretty much like left. Like, I had to call out while I was working. Like, I didn't even, you know how you call out or whatever before you even think about waking up? You just know you're not going to work. So you call out as soon as you wake up, hey, I don't feel well, I'm sick or whatever, I can't come in. I was already at work and had to leave early. Okay. I was picked up when it got out to the public, when people started mumbling, oh my, oh she. When they started, when whispers and stuff was coming out, child, that's when I'm gonna say all hell broke loose, child. I remember being, it was an emergency. I remember it being said that it was an emergency. I had to leave, and I'm thinking that I have just been saved from a long closed out shift that I had that night. And come to find out, I am being rolled up, pulled up to the police station. We gonna get into the conversation on the way there, if I could even get to it. But I was pulled up to the police station, and now it's time for me to give a statement. Now it's time for me to tell what happened. Now I have to process, okay, I have to process what just happened almost 3.5 weeks ago, that probably a month now. I think by this point, by this time, I'll give it about a month. I'll give it about a month or so. But when I tell you everything happened so fast, from the time of the event happening up until this point in my life, like, everything happened so fast. Everything happened so fast. It happened so quickly. Everything happened so fast and so quickly, and everything started to go downhill. I was not mentally prepared to give a statement because I was still processing everything that has happened. I was trying to go as long as I can without saying anything to anybody because I didn't want to be just another Jane Doe. I was going to say, we're going to get into that. I done said that a billion times. We're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff. But the fact that, like, can we just talk about the reason why Jane Doe is called Jane Doe or John Doe is for anonymous measures? And more times than some, the reason why Jane Doe or even becoming anonymous is even used or preferred is because of threats, violences after already a traumatic event, and then to not put it out there who it is that you are, so that if it does come out into the public, that the outside world or whatever, does or doesn't believe you, so that you don't have to have any type of question, or doubt that this is true. You just know that this particular situation happened to you. You want justice for your life and for what has been taken from you, and you want this person to go to to jail for what they've done. You want them to pay for what they have done to you, and that's it. You don't want to have to deal with being asked, well, you're explaining and you're explaining and you talking about drinking, smoking, you talking about how he or she was feeling on you and what you was wearing or whatever, and now you being shamed for that, and now you being blamed for that. Oh, you shouldn't have worn that, or now you're being over sexualized. You know what I mean? And just imagine being picked up from work and you first of all confused. You trying to figure out, well, not literally, but in your head you like, bro, I just clocked in and I've only been here for like a few hours, didn't even get a break yet, like what's happening? And you're being told you're going to the station to file a report. Excuse me, I didn't ask to do that. And then you can't, and then you feel like you can't say that because now it's like, why would you not want to report it? Why wouldn't you say anything? Why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you do that? And the pressure is on. The pressure is on. You are in the hot seat. You are essentially, you are the hot seat. Okay? Like you're not even sitting on it. You are hot tamale, okay? Like this is it. And now you're having to replay everything. And then it's like, were you even, you start asking yourself questions. Now you become doubtful. You asking yourself questions like, do I even remember the time? Like, I know it was dark as hell, but I also know that it was late. Am I going to be judged because I'm about to say that I was out with one of my best friends and it was late out at night and we was just, chilling or whatever. And we were invited, like, things that you probably don't do on a regular day, you have to explain that you do, and you being looked and judged by your dad. You have to give this whole rundown about everything that happened probably, few weeks ago, months ago, years ago, whatever. And granted, your body remembers everything. Your mind remembers everything. And you may not remember in this moment of time, and it's going to feel like deja vu because it's like, oh my gosh, you're going to wake up one day or you're going to be daydreaming, looking outside the window and thinking like, damn, that happened to me. And then when you experience that traumatic event again, it's going to be something totally similar to what happened when you was younger, that not you vocalizing that you remember, but you see glimpses and flashes of different material. You remember the scents. You remember, you see literally where you was at. You feel you feel the material of what you wore. You saw what you wore. You know what you was laying on. You remember that perfume bottle or that cologne bottle. You remember that exit sign. You remember that tree. You remember all these things, and it's years later, full-blown married with kids or whatever, and you like, damn, I was 4 years old. I was 7 years old. I was 10. I was 16. I was 20. I was 25. I was 45. Like it doesn't matter. It's like as soon as you experience that one situation, that situation then becomes a photographic, and it's one for feeling. It becomes a photographic memory of something that literally strikes and sparks up another memory, that happened years ago. And you trying to figure out, you see these flashes, but I can't put the event together. I can't put this situation together. It seems like it's a dream, but I know it happened. I can smell it. I can smell. I can see, I can hear. Like I remember. I just don't remember who it would happen with. I just don't remember where or what. Like, I'm trying to put it all together and you can't. And it's not until you have a similar experience to where that strikes that memory, and then it's like, bro, what? And your body is going through a whole traumatic experience again. But it's going through a traumatic experience again because it remembers all of these things and it's becoming a trigger. But at the same time, these different notions and senses that you have is triggering experiences that your body has been through before that you couldn't recollect because you couldn't remember. And at the same time, you couldn't remember because you didn't know what it was then. And now as you're growing and understanding life and going through life, and you're at this particular age where you can put stuff together, now 1 + 1 dead ass equals 2. And you like, holy crap. And yes, I was thinking about all of that when I was in the police station. I don't know how many times I like paused. Like, you know how Abbott Elementary be pausing like in the office and stuff like that. I love those shows. And they be pausing into the camera like, and then they go back to script. I'm I'm for sure, like, extremely positive. I paused hella times in the police station. And then I went back twice, 3 times, twice. Because after I given the report, they do their rounds, and I'm giving a summary. So I'm giving a summary of what the process could truly be like after you put in a report. But I was asked to come back, and I think that was when I was told, like, later on down the line, that my report and everything and the statement that I gave wasn't going to go through trial or whatever, to for the guys that did rape me or whatever to go through. I feel like it was at least 3 times, but I could be wrong. But and then even now, I'm not even gonna lie. Before even like getting to this like place, I know that throughout the years, I've literally tried to pull up different like articles and stuff like that regarding my situation, because it like it was a big deal. It was a big deal because I was a sophomore in college and they were high school boys. And I didn't know that then. I didn't know that then. And they lied about their age. Yeah. Two of them, well, all of them lied about their age. That was involved with the group, all of them lied about their age. And two of the guys that raped me um lied about their age, and they all went to the same school. They all were football players. And it's just a weird, when you think about it, I feel like when you break down situations in that way, about how weird certain situations or interesting stories can turn out being, is because, for I'm gonna just go off track real quick for just slightly. When you hear about boys being taken advantage of and being sexually abused and being pretty much the same way that, you know, women, young ladies, girls are being groomed, men, young boys can be groomed as well, by women and by men, to where they can groom others to release pleasure for the other person, and they are making them do these things to them for their pleasure and not them. And because they are young, they mentally don't know what it is that they're experiencing, or they can't They don't have the words to truly express and communicate what it is that's happening. What's funny, not funny, what's so not funny about this situation is we were about a year apart, and a year and a half apart, and because I was older than them, and and the witness that was there could not test, well, either didn't want to, couldn't. I'm again in a situation to where I cannot and will not speak for the other person. I can just say how it made me look and how it made me feel and what I got from it. And what I was told was they didn't want to testify because they didn't experience it, or they didn't truly know exactly what happened. They was there, but there is no such claims that this particular event or whatever truly had taken place. So at this point, because it's said and known that I am 19, these guys are essentially 17, they're in high school, they're seniors in high school. Drinking, like liquor and stuff, was involved. I remember a police officer saying, "Well, do you know their names?" And I'm like, "Yes, I gave their names." He was like, "Are you positive that this happened to you?" And then mind you, being taken to the police station or whatever by your father, being taken away from work, and in your head you like, I'm dealing with all of this. Like, I could have stayed at work if this was going to happen. If all of this doubt and question or whatever was going to be taking place. Like, don't nobody want to go through this again or have to relive it in their brain to express and explain what has happened. So, all that to say that you kind of be put in a position to where it needs to be out there because it's important to know that anybody can experience this at any age. And it doesn't necessarily matter how old you are, what color you are, what stage of life that you're in. It's simply just the fact that um, you were taken advantage of and you did not give consent. If you did not say, yes, I want to do this with you, everything else is null and void. Doesn't matter. To be honest, how much you drink, how much, yeah, because how much drugs you had, if how much under the influence you like really were. Like, If you were able to say no and you're struggling and you're pushing someone off of you, clearly that is an indication that they do not want to be touched and that they're being violated. I don't care if you are 2 years younger than me. I don't care if, like, at this point, regardless of your age, you are bigger and much larger than me. And you are taking an opportunity to take advantage. And you think because somebody else or whatever, you're in a situation where this girl like you or whatever, or y'all was talking this, that, and the third, and whatever the situation may be, you are now an opportunist. You are finding an opportunity. Oh, we drinking, we smoking, and she let me touch her, like fill up on her or whatever. Okay, and I bet you she pushed your hand. And just because we drinking and smoking don't mean that I'm saying yes to having a good old time with you in bed. No, it ain't. I'm here to have a good time right here with the collective of people. I did not come out my mouth and say that I want to give you this or I want to give you that. And that is when I kind of felt like like my that at that moment, at being at at the station, explaining that and being told, you know, I just want to let you know this may not go to trial just because of the circumstances and due to, everything. And at one point, I've kind of felt like I was becoming obsessive of what this was like. Because I was like looking up laws. I was looking up like stats. Like I was fact checking my own self. I became obsessive over my own case and was like, at this point, I need to hire me to yeah, I need to hire me to speak for me in court. Like, I need to take these people to court and to vouch for self or something. Like, that's it. It became, and then that became unhealthy. I'm like, and to an extent, I'm not gonna lie. Like, after my situation, I definitely started to look into other like documentaries, other situations, and or just anything that was happening over time. And I said 2014, 2013. It's a documentary on Netflix. I forgot her name, but she was kidnapped and she went to jail or whatever. She got sentenced for killing her abuser. And she got out a few years ago. And it was like different situations or whatever that was happening like that, to where people was actually coming out about situations and they were, you know what I mean, about their experiences. And I'm like, and because we have to be mindful of certain state laws, which is so freaking annoying, it's one of those situations where it's like, this is kind of a situation of self-defense, because she was kidnapped, she was raped, she was taken advantage of, she was all these different things, and the only way that she's able to leave and to get away is to kill her abuser, to kill her kidnapper, to kill, that is the only way. And now I'm going to jail for finding a way out. Like, I'm going to jail for finding a way out. Like, that was wild. Like, hearing stories like that is wild to me. And I can't even put out a statement or file a report for it to go to trial, because one, I don't have a solid witness, and two, because of misdemeanors, because it was labeled as a misdemeanor, and something else because of the age. And we sit here and wonder why people don't want to file reports. We and we ask all these questions. Well, why are you not talking about it? Why you didn't come to me? What is the percentage of you listening to everything that has happened and you believing me? What are the chances that if I do take this report, to the station, that is going to go to court? What is the percentage? What is it? Because at this point, like, I can say that it's very much more on the end that it's not going to go through.